Welcome to the ulead podcast, brought to you by the Council for School Leadership of the Alberta Teachers Association. Hello, I am here with Dr. Judi Newman, and we are talking a little bit about the upcoming ulead conference in 2025. Dr. Newman, how are you today?
Great, thank you, Corey. Lovely to be here, and really looking forward to coming to the ulead conference in your lovely Banff again. We've only been there in winter.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it too, and we're getting a little bit more excited about it. And one of the things that we like to do when we're talking and getting ready is to create a little bit of excitement, to talk to some of our keynotes. And that's why I've got you here. So, you know what, Dr. Newman, why don't we start with you telling everyone a little bit about yourself and why you think maybe we're asking you to come and talk to all of the delegates at ulead.
Thank you, Corey. My background is in education, so I'm a former secondary school principal. So I've spent over 35 years in schools, and from there I was an executive coach for 5 years in the corporate and education world, and loved the connection and the partnership I had with many leaders. And that led me to undertake a PhD in the psychology and neuroscience of leadership influence. So that's my area. And today I'm a consultant full-time. I work with principals and corporate leaders on strengthening their leadership influence and working with their teams that they lead. And I'm an author and associate research supervisor. I enjoy managing and supervising PhD candidates, and an adjunct at the university.
That sounds like you have a lot going on. Now, when you come to ulead, what are some of the things that you're going to talk about? You just mentioned that you have, like I said, many different projects, and it sounds like a lot of background. What are you going to touch on at ulead?
I'm going to be talking on my favourite topic, leadership influence through the neuroscience lens. So what I mean by that is leadership's about influence, and it's not really about, the badge that you wear, because everybody can be a leader. And these days, we're not in the factory mode of management. We're in the people mode of leadership. So how do you influence other human beings to get things done? And how do you unite people as a team? So that's what I'll be talking about. Specifically, my research showed that we judge somebody, particularly someone with positional authority, like a school principal, by their trustworthiness, their warmth, and their credibility in the first few seconds of meeting them. And I show through storytelling and visuals that the research shows that that's because those three characteristics are linked into neural networks in our brain. And I use a metaphor of our emotional brain, our social brain, and our thinking brain. And our emotional brain means that we're hardwired to detect threat. So in leadership, trust is so important. In fact, distrust is the default of the lower regions of the brain. So a leader needs to be able to not only inspire trust in others, but be worthy of that trust from others. Brain 2 is our social brain. Because we have a social brain, our brain has been designed and evolved to belong to and operate in a social group, and that's really important. And I tell stories around why that's important. In fact, it's not just something we desire through friendships, but it's also essential for our brain health. In fact, your brain shrinks with chronic loneliness, and I'll share studies around that. So in leadership influence, of course, building rapport and building relationships is really important. And finally, brain 3, so the metaphor goes, is our thinking brain. And it means that our brain has an innate desire to learn and achieve and move forward. But the secret is in leadership influence that those neural networks are not only interrelated very closely, but they're sequential, meaning we first have to build trust, then build rapport and relationships in order to get growth from others personally and on an organisational level. So that's part of my research, and I'll be unpacking that.
That sounds not only very interesting, but already I was thinking about ways that I might be able to use that as a leader in a school. And that brings me to my last question. What do you think people will walk away from your session with? What do you hope that they go back to their schools with? Perhaps some of the skills that you hope to help them to hone?
Yeah, good question, Corey. I hope that they will actually unpack their own thinking and reflect on their own leadership behaviours and practices, because we have habitual behaviours that sometimes are non conscious. And it's a really interesting reflection to look at ourselves and our impact on others. So I'm hoping to unpack the 12 leadership attributes that I use from my research. I actually followed strong, effective leaders in huge high schools around and recorded everything they did and said and coded all the data. And then I asked those principals, what do you do to inspire and motivate others for their best performance? And I also interviewed their staff and asked them the same question. From that coding came the 12 leadership attributes. So that's what I hope they're going to be reflecting on.
I'm really looking forward to speaking with you a little bit more, hearing what you have to say on the big stage in Banff in April coming up. And I want to thank you so much for sharing just a little bit today, getting me excited and hopefully some other people who are going to attend ulead excited as well about seeing you then as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey. And if you're watching this, everybody, looking forward to chatting with you on the day.